Hello, this is Angela Anderson. Thanks for joining me for this acrylic painting tutorial. In this video, I'm going to be showing you how to paint this rowboat. I'm calling it Rustic Rowboat. I'm going to show you start to finish. Got my husband Mark with me.
Hey there, everybody.
He's not in chat for our live show, so if you have questions, you can ask those while I'm painting, and I'll try to answer them. Let's get started. So here's my canvas. I'm using a Fredrix Belgian linen canvas board. It's a 9x12 inch. You can use whatever size you'd like. And I've coated it with yellow oxide to start with, just to give us a head start on our background, tone the canvas. Our brushes today, we're going to have just a few brushes. We're going to need a few brushes for some like texture on the rowboat itself. So you'll just need kind of a brush with some stiffness in it. I've got a 3/8 inch, 1/4 inch Willows blender, and then this one is called a scumbler. It's a number 2 scumbler from Princeton, and it's just a stiff bristled like hog bristle brush or something like that. Very small tips because we're going to need it to get into the rowboat handle and things like that. And if you don't have that, just get use whatever that you have that's close. I've got a 3/8 inch and 1/4 inch angle brush and a number 4 chisel blender. That's just a teeny tiny little short flat brush. I've got a couple of filberts, the number 4 and number 6 filbert, and a number 3 and number 1 round, and then a number 10 odd short liner for some of the rope and details. There's a lot of little details in this one, so just need a few little detail brushes, just whatever you've got that's similar to those. These are the Princeton VelvetTouch, and then the blue handles are the Select brushes. They are our brush sponsor, so thank you to Princeton for providing our brushes and for Fredrix for providing our canvas. I'm also going to try something on the water. I don't know, I don't use a mop brush very often, but I'm going to try to soften some of the water on the with the mop brush. We'll try a different technique today. So I've got an oval mop for that, and then a bristle fan if we want to do some splattering in the rocks, which we may want to do. I'm not sure yet. And then you'll want like a sponge or something like that that'll give you some texture in our rocks, and that'll be it.
I don't think we want to splatter at all.
We hate splattering.
Exactly.
It's the worst.
So yucky.
Not. Yeah. So I've sketched out onto my canvas, use a watercolor pencil or something like that. Basically, it's just working diagonal and fitting my rowboat right in the middle. If you want to, you can start on this back end and kind of do your U shape. This one, it comes almost vertical, and then it curves down and then quickly curves up, and it's pointing right at that corner there where it's curving up. All right, and then this half is actually cut off by this blanket, so or this tarp that's over the top of the rowboat, and it's pointing right back to here. So you're going to come down just a little bit and just kind of make your mark here, and then wherever you squared off, you're just basically going to draw a line from this point, come out a little bit, but then it just basically goes almost straight down to this. It wiggles a little bit where this blanket is, and then right up underneath it, you're going to have another line for the inside rim of that boat, and then a little squared off area here, which is a little bit farther than halfway. So if you split your boat in half this way, or actually in half this way, because if you measured it from here to here, this is going to be pretty much equal distance on either side. You're going to have these little points where your rowboat is attached. Does that make sense? So you can make your other rim of the boat here. And this one, again, like this one, it gets cut off by this blanket, so it sort of does this weird diagonal thingy once it gets to just past that mark there where the rowboat is attached. And then you can come back underneath and do your second line underneath all the way down. That one is visible, so that one may be a little bit, you might want to start there. And then just above our little line here, we're going to do a couple more lines and then have a couple pieces that are going across this way. So our angle is coming across like this. So our blanket, if we were to draw the back end of our boat, it would be right about here. And then this is split this way. And these lines are almost parallel. They're not quite. They're just slightly off parallel. So they're just tilted just a little bit like that. And then we're going to have all of these diagonal or kind of lines in our boat here that are coming down. And these are curved at the top here. So they curve down and then they kind of straighten out and go to this end here. Curving up. And then there's a bunch of rust and stuff. Nice thing about these kind of rustic boats is you really don't have to be super careful with your lines and things because everything is a little bit wonky anyways. So they're really fun to paint because of that. All right, so if you come down from that prow, excuse me, these two angles are going to be the same. So just kind of look at those when you draw this part. You kind of want to mimic this curve right here. And of course, it'll be a little smaller because it's a little farther away, but it's not that much. It's almost sideways, so the perspective is not that much more narrow up here. So you don't have to do really sharp angle there. And then our little rudder is right up underneath there. Okay, so that's our main points in the boat. There's benches that come across here, like that. And these angles will be matched up with those. So, your benches will all kind of line up with this back line of the boat. So just keep that in mind when you're doing those, and so that you kind of keep your angles correct. All right, and then our oar is really large. That's the kind of the focal point, I think, of this. So that one's coming off down here, and I guess if you did an angle from, trying to think of, if you did an angle right from that corner out, it's right there. And then it angles from this corner down. So kind of figure out, I guess it's just off from center. So if you kind of come over just a little from center and just come up a little bit, make your mark there, and then come down just to the inside of the boat, and then just do your angle like this. It just widens a little bit. And then this one on this side, it looks like it looks like it's a little bit different. I don't know, but it comes down there, and then you're seeing it come out. It's in the water down over here, just a little bit. You see a little bit of it right down there.
So you're getting refraction in the water.
Yeah.
That's why it looks like it's at a different angle.
Mm-hmm.
Science.
And then we've got our reflection in our water here up from the boat. Our shoreline, rocks right there, and kind of off like that. So it comes to about, I guess, the third, probably, if you mark the third there, that's where our shoreline ends, right up there, and then it comes off just a little bit here. But we're seeing all of this is going to be filled with rocks, so let's go ahead and get to it because we've got a lot to do today, and we're trying to get it done in a couple hours. So we got to hit the road, and my parents' 50th anniversary. We've got a dinner to be at, and it's
so first you need to introduce your paints.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, yeah, colors. Carbon black, burnt umber, burnt sienna, quinacridone burnt orange, yellow oxide, cadmium yellow medium, phthalo green yellow shade, teal, cobalt teal, phthalo blue green shade, ultramarine blue, dioxazine purple, quinacridone magenta, cadmium red medium, cadmium red light, unbleached titanium, titanium white, and zinc white. All right.
So is the boat taking a nap because it's got its blankie?
Or watching TV. I always have my blankie on my lap when I watch TV. All right. So either one.
It's just watching the water.
Right.
Okay.
All right. So just picking up a little bit of paint here on my brush or on my sponge here. Make sure you kind of wet it down, but then squeeze it out really well so that it's not super damp. You don't want it dripping with water. You just want it slightly damp. And I'm just going to tap, 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 and I'm going right over the top of that water line because we are going to have our rocks showing underneath. So I'm gonna go right over everything. We'll fix it if it goes over the top of our boat, so don't worry about that. You want it to have good texture all the way down. And try to keep it from getting these lines. I kind of got some lines down there. I don't really want those. So just try to keep turning it. If you see some lines forming, just sort of turn your sponge so that you get a lot of randomness. You don't want any noticeable patterns happening. And it goes all the way really up into here. We're seeing rocks under the water, so I'm going to go all the way up in there. And just go over the top of our... If you use a water-soluble pencil, it may disappear a little bit on you, so you may want to draw out your drawing on paper so that you can go back and transfer back on your boat after you do this. Probably in a perfect world, I would not have put my boat on here yet. I would just kind of do my shoreline and then transfer my boat on. But we don't have time for that today, so and nobody got time for that. All right, we'll let that dry. We'll work on our water a little bit. We can't do a whole lot with the water yet because we want to put the water over the top of this, but we can kind of get started on it up in here. About right up at the top of the boat right here. We're not seeing any of that rock anymore, so it's pretty much just sky color up there. And this yellow underneath is actually, you might think it's kind of a weird color to put blue over, but it actually works really well for landscapes to do this yellow ochre or yellow oxide underneath. It's just a really pretty color combination. So I'm going to make a teal with the phthalo blue and adding a little bit of burnt sienna, mostly blue. And let's use some of the white. Excuse me. No, it's that ever since they did the grinding on the tile the other day, I've been having wheezing. I'm sensitive to it, I guess. Sorry. It's the air blowing. I think it's the air conditioning. All right, I'm going to get a couple different filberts here going. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have one with the lighter color and one with the darker color and put them side by side. And then I'm going to use my mop brush to kind of soften as I go. So I'm going to have 3 brushes going at once. This is going to be awesome. We'll see how it goes because you want to work wet into wet with this kind of technique. So I'm going to put down just a little bit of the blue, the light blue here. That's going to be our main color, and then I'm going to grab some of the darker blue and put it in here. And I want to cover up all that yellow, so I want to make sure that I'm getting all that yellow gone. It can kind of peek through in places, but I don't want it to be super visible. Okay, so those first 2 colors are down. Let's grab our mop brush. I'm just going to kind of lightly, you can see how it kind of just softens that color. It really only works if you keep your colors wet while you're working, so both colors have to be wet for this kind of blend to work with the mop. And I don't really use it that often. I mean, it's a really cool technique. It's just that you have to kind of work so quickly and you have to have 3 brushes going. I'm just a little too lazy for that sometimes. So, but it does kind of do a really cool effect there. So it's a lot softer than you would get otherwise. Well, let's keep on going. So I'm just going to go ahead and kind of just cover the area with this light blue. And I'm just doing small areas, but I'm trying to, like, on my edges here, where I stop, I'm trying to kind of fade those out and keep them kind of random so that we don't have a straight line that we have to try to cover up later. And up in here, these lines are going to be pretty small, up towards the horizon line. All right, let's try this. Get that mop brush. Very, very light. Just going to smush those colors together a little bit. Okay, there we go. I didn't mix up nearly enough of this color. We'll have to mix some more of it up. You're like you're disappointed.
I was sitting over here going, I don't think that's enough paint mixed up there, but
Really? You were thinking
but I
that?
figured you were the pro, not me. So what do I know? Now, what paint are we talking about?
Are we painting? I love it. Okay. Get a little bit lighter here. I feel like my colors are a little too close together. So, and on my water, you can see I'm kind of going horizontal, but I am kind of dipping it just a little bit. But I'm kind of keeping the overall motion sort of side by side here. So I'm getting that kind of wave feeling, and then grabbing that brush, and I've kept it dry, and just gonna lightly, and if it gets sticky with paint, you can wipe it off on a damp paper towel. So just get a little bit of water on your paper towel here. I don't know why I pulled it off right there. And then just kind of wipe it off on that. Try not to get it super damp. And let's just keep on going here. I definitely like this color. I think it's working pretty well. And then what I can do is go back in with some zinc white later, or some other white, and just kind of add it over the top of some of these areas where I want to emphasize a little bit of brighter shine on the water. That's working pretty well. All right. Get some more of this lighter color. And I'm going to have to stop about halfway here. Once we get close to these rocks, I'm going to have to stop and put the rocks in, finish the rocks first, and then we can continue this over the top. But for now, we'll just... And then the water over here is kind of going at an angle a little bit. So it starts out flat, but then it sort of matches the angle. It sort of turns, starts to match the angle of the shoreline here. What's the matter? Buffering? Okay. Sorry, we're having some buffering issues, I guess, with YouTube. Is it on our end or YouTube's end? The issue is.
I can't tell.
Okay.
But it looks like it's stopped. So.
Good. Okay, grabbing that brush. Just really softens it up. It's really pretty. Yeah, actually used the mop brush for the Princeton videos that I was doing, because that was one of the brushes. This brush was one of the brushes that we had to use for, do a video for their website. And I enjoyed it so much. I was like, why am I not using this brush? It was actually pretty fun to do the water this way. So, yeah. So we'll be using it a little bit more, I think, in future videos. Getting that dark, getting some of this lighter color here, and I'm keeping my paint fairly wet. It's pretty soupy, and I'm not really worried about my brush being loaded any particular way. I'm just kind of trying to get that paint on there quickly. And with water here, it's pretty forgiving. It doesn't have to be exactly too drawing, you just have to get kind of the general shapes right, and your eye will automatically interpret it as water. So just kind of these amoeba-like shapes, and get them going in the right direction. And then I'm going to use this brush very lightly, dab off. And if it lifts off, what's happened is the paint is starting to dry. So if instead of blending, your paint lifts off the canvas like it's trying to do up here, it's either like too wet, which that paint was a little bit wet for the background that was around it, so it wasn't sticking together. It was just like laying on top instead of blending with the background color. So both colors have to be basically the same amount of wet for them to blend. If one's wetter than the other, and one's kind of thicker, then this will just mop up the wet one. It won't blend them together. So try to make these two colors, the dark and the light colors, the same amount of wetness, and it'll work a little bit better. So like up in here, I just need to let that dry, and then I can go back in and add some more later. But it was a little bit wetter than the background color.
I am absolutely loving the demonstration of wetness levels there. One hand a little bit higher than the other. So that brings it all home for me.
The visual, it would click.
Yes, yeah.
It clicked for you.
Yeah, that helps.
Okay, Mr. Smile Up. I can explain it to you. You're just going to have to figure it out on your own. Okay, I'm going to do a little bit more of the burnt sienna on the water down here. We'll get a little bit darker as well. You're always going to have less contrast farther away, and then as you get down towards the foreground, you're going to have more contrast. So right here, our lights are going to be lighter, our darks are going to be darker in our foreground. It's kind of just a general rule of thumb with landscapes. All right, and go. And I'm just going to let that set because I need to work on these rocks a little bit more before we do anything else. With the water there, I can work on it up here though. There's nothing up here that's stopping me from getting this part done up here.
So it'll be kind of sad when we finish with the house renovation because then we won't have a kitchen in your studio anymore.
I know. It's pretty nice having the kitchen studio. I was thinking I may just have to get a microwave for the studio.
Microwave, toaster.
Exactly. And I never have to leave. I was also thinking it's going to be kind of sad when we get our kitchen back because then I'm going to have to start cooking again. I won't have an excuse to eat out every night. It's pretty nice just to be able to like.
It is convenient having the refrigerator right next to the TV, though.
It's like, why have we not been doing this all along? Doesn't make any sense.
We're going to come out of this rhino about 20 pounds heavier, I think.
I think you're right. I was thinking that the other day, too. I'm like, I'm eating a lot of crap right now.
Yeah. And we don't have to move that far to get to the stuff we want.
Exactly. Yeah, it's not a good combination.
What was that?
If you're not following what we're talking about, we're doing a whole house renovation right now. So we're in second phase, and we're living out of the smallest bedroom in the house, with no kitchen, no master bath, no laundry. Yeah, so it's we're camping in our own house basically. Mm-hmm. What were you saying?
It was like that movie Wall-E, where everybody's just sitting in the little seats and everything comes to them. Yeah. I've always thought that sounded really cool. Actually, I was like, that's a great idea. I know it's supposed to be a bad thing. It's like, sounds really awesome, actually. Okay, sorry. Don't make me laugh. I can't paint. Oh my gosh. Yeah, we're getting a little. We're going a little stir crazy.
We're going stir crazy for sure. It'll be good to get out of the house this weekend. Get around real, family. All right, so not liking this transition at all right here, so we'll work on that. But my paint brushes are starting to get kind of dry, so I'm just going to have to kind of clean this out, and I'm going to wipe that brush off, maybe get a little teeny tiny bit of water on the tip of it, wipe that off, and I'm just going to let that set for now, and we'll come back to it. I'm going to get a paper towel here. I'm going to work on, well, actually, let's go ahead and finish that part of the water. We might as well do that. We don't want to leave that corner undone and get too far ahead of ourselves. So let's blend that out right there. We started going down into that part where you can see what we kind of did there. It's sort of transparent right there. That's kind of what we're going to do when we get that part going. So and this is glazing liquid. I just put out a little bit of glazing liquid right here so that it would go on a little bit more transparently. I wanted to be able to see through my color a little bit. A little bit more of that yellow showing through in this area. Gets my other brush with the darker color, and I'm just going to go in here and just add some of this darker color in a few places over here. I'm using the glazing liquid so it goes on a little bit softer. It's not bad. before that dries all the way, I'm going to grab my font brush, just kind of very lightly blend over. You're barely touching down. Just going to catch that top layer of paint there and just smush them together a little bit. Let me see if I can get it going on this a little bit. And there's some shadows happening in the water over here. They're going to be darker than this, but I'm just going to go ahead and kind of indicate where they're going to go somewhat. I think I switched my brush colors on accident there. I'm using my light color brush for the dark and vice versa here. Okay. I just want to smooth out this area here for sure. Okay, we'll let that set. And now that we've got kind of color all the way down, we'll come back to it. I feel like this area probably is a little bit abrupt. I might have done a better job of blending that in, but I think it'll be all right. We'll fix it later. All right, so I'm going to switch to let's go ahead and get the 3/8 inch angle brush. And I'm going to use, so I've got my dark down. Let's go ahead and use some yellow oxide here and some of my unbleached titanium. Mix those two together. I'm going to make the color of our pebbles here. And point my brush down. I'm just going to tap very lightly. We're going to do little highlights. So I want it to be lighter than my background color. These ones up here are really close together and it's pretty hard to tell the separation. So, and I'm not having to do them on all of these. I'm not going to try to fill in the whole thing with pebbles. That'd take forever. But I do want to just kind of highlight a few of them. We've got the kind of general texture going on that we want. So now we're just kind of trying to draw the eye to a few of these pebbles that are kind of sitting on top. And by pointing the brush straight down, you're going to get these kind of triangular or rounded, squared off. The angle brush is really good for that. And you can kind of twist your brush side to side just a little bit. And the more you press down, the bigger your rocks are going to be. We're just keep them small up here, though. Keep them real small. Adding some white into the mix. There's a lot of rocks in this. So if you wanted to, you could make it sand instead of rocks. If you don't want to have to do this, you know, you could just kind of do. I've got lots of videos with sand, so you can find one of those and do some sand instead if this seems like really tedious to you. It's actually not too bad. It's kind of one of those sort of mindless Zen type of, you know, painting things where you can just kind of get into the rhythm of it and sort of de-stress. Let it happen. Doesn't have to be perfect.
Put on some music.
Throw on some music, yeah. Paint some pebbles. This painting, I think, in general, is probably one of the more, it's going to be kind of on the advanced side. So it's not going to be like our horse painting that we did on Tuesday night. Tuesday night videos, any of the videos that I do that say easy in the title are going to be for beginners. And then if it doesn't say easy, or if it goes over 2 hours, you know it's probably, it's probably not a beginner painting. So we've got all kinds of different level of paintings. So I would say, like, I probably wouldn't start on this as your very first time picking up a brush, because it might be a little frustrating for you. I always encourage beginners to kind of start simple, start with smaller, easier paintings, get some confidence, get some comfortability with your brushes, get to know how they work, and how to manipulate with water. And acrylics are, they dry so quickly. It takes a little bit of time to figure out, the skill of, getting your paint down without it drying out immediately and that kind of thing. But we've got all kinds of different paintings for all different levels. So that's why we do the easier ones. And we have these more kind of challenging ones for those who want to take it to the next level and are ready for that. But paint what makes you happy. I'm not going to tell you what to paint. Just have the, suggestions on there for you can know sort of the level that these are at. Okay, and up in here in the water, it's a little bit more murky, but we do want to go ahead and go fairly bright with these because they're going to be covered with water. So they're going to lose a lot of their brightness. So we can go a little, just the same brightness here as we did on the shoreline. We don't have to worry about that because we're going to be covering it up with paint. So it'll tone it down for us. All right, looking good. Let's get some of this up in here.
I will be glad when summer is over.
Why?
So the air conditioner will turn off sometimes.
Yeah. It just stays on the whole show.
Yep, it's going to be up close in the 90s again today. It's first week of September.
Yeah. Yeah, it doesn't start to get cool here until October usually. And even then, you never know. we could have days of warmth. We've had Halloween is always fun because you never know if you're going to be wearing shorts or a jacket. Yeah. In the last few years, it's rained, so we have had kind of dud Halloweens the last few years. We get a lot of trick-or-treaters on a good year, and so we buy a ton of candy, and then it rains, and like the last few years, we've just ended up with candy, Halloween buckets of Halloween candy out our ears.
And I wind up bringing it to work.
Right. I gave the rest of it to the construction guys. I did.
So we're about 9 months later.
Yeah,
we still had candy left. Yeah.
Exactly. We finally got rid of the last of the Halloween candy. Just before. just before.
The new stuff came out in the stores.
I know. Yeah, they just put the new stuff out.
I was picking up dinner the other night, and they had Christmas decorations out.
Oh, yeah. Halloween or
all that stuff.
Hobby Lobby is all Christmas right now.
Yeah, Cracker Barrel was...
oh, I'm sure.
Yep.
Yeah. Yep. Okay, so once that's dry, we're going to glaze over the top. So I'm going to get my burnt umber here. My paints are already starting to get sticky, so I need to keep them wet. This is actually coming together pretty quickly. Thank you to those who joined us for this early time, by the way. I didn't say hi to everybody yet, but thank you to our normal live stream crew that showed up early to join us here. I don't know if anybody's watching, but hopefully we got a few people.
No.
No? Nobody?
We're 0.
We're 0?
Yep.
Everybody's sleeping in. That's what I'd be doing on Saturday. Are you kidding me? I've been having to get up at 6:30. That's like
What?
torture for me.
What? AM? Is there such a thing as 6:30 AM?
Yeah, it's bad. Do you feel sorry for me?
I feel really, really bad.
Yeah. Because what time do you have to get up?
4.
Exactly.
I'm at work,
By 6:30 by the time I'm getting up.
which is an hour away from here. So
Yeah. Mark doesn't feel sorry for me at all. It's like it's about time.
But we're a good pair. You have the night shift. I've got the morning shift.
Oh yeah, it worked well when we have teenagers for sure, because they are all up late. So it's nice to have at least one of us that likes to stay up late. All right, so I'm going to start with this color. We're glazing around the boat and at the shoreline there, kind of where the water's darkening up the rocks. I don't want to go too dark and lose all of my highlights. We can always go back over our highlights though. So, and in fact, I probably don't want to go super far up in here. I'm going to go and just dab that off with my paper towel so that I soften up that color right there, because I'm forgetting that area is going to be dark because we're putting that blue over the top, so I don't have to go super dark right there. Okay. But I do want to kind of unify that color a little bit. Just felt like had a lot of weird open spots in there, so this will just kind of pull everything together, and then we can put another layer of our rocks over the top and it'll be just about perfect. Okay. Use that burnt umber, and I'm going to tap in my brush. Go right up into that water there that we've already done. Tap in some dark areas. Let's go and grab some purple and use that with the burnt umber. That'll give us a really dark color. You can use black too. I should have mentioned when I put out that black, I put it out, but I'm not 100% sure that we're going to need it, so you may not have to use the black. I kind of prefer not to use black if I don't have to. So I feel I prefer using color to darken my colors. So, and purple's super dark, so we can get a pretty good effects with it. Pretty close to black. And really this bottom side of the boat is going to be this color, so I'm just going to go ahead and paint that in while I've got it on my brush. Get that really dark color right up to that boat. You're kind of losing the seam right there a little bit. You know, this darkness, all the shadow. And then I'm going right up underneath it and just adding rocks right up on that beach right there. Right up along that line between the rocks and the boat. It should be almost the same color right there. Same value. That's going to make our boat look really rounded and just disappear into the water shoreline there. Just texting you.
No, when it was my work phone alerting me. Somebody didn't check the dates when they schedule meetings, and so they've got Saturday in there also for a meeting. The first week I logged in, I was like, yeah, okay, obviously this was a mistake. And they haven't fixed it since.
Mm-hmm. So every Saturday at the same time you get that
Yeah. Yeah.
reminder for that meeting that's not existing.
That's not there, right.
That's not there. Nice. And you can't change it because you're not the one that created the meeting?
Correct.
Well, that's convenient.
Oh, how many? Somebody's asked, how many snowmen do you have?
Oh, God.
Did we count one year?
Yeah, I think we had over 200. Well, it may have been closer to, I can't remember now.
A lot.
A lot. There's so many that we couldn't fit them all in the hutch. They've kind of started spilling out onto other parts of the house. Yeah. Hopefully we'll have the energy to do it this year.
In your pretty new house?
In the pretty new house. Exactly. Okay, so I put in my shadow there. I'm going to go ahead and put in some rocks around here. Put in kind of the shadow where that ore is going, right there. And then, yeah, I like that addition of that purple tone. Don't go too purple. If it looks purple, then you've gone too far. So you should put it down, and it should just look kind of like a brown with a hint of purple. It shouldn't read purple. Alrighty. Coming along pretty good, I think. So let's go ahead and continue with these rocks. I'm gonna, excuse me, that air. I mean, it's the dust in the house. There's just dust everywhere.
I can turn it off.
No, it's fine.
But then I would probably have to take my shirt off. It gets hot in here.
We were doing a live stream a few weeks ago. It was a couple months ago. And I look over, Mark's got his shirt off. It's like, what are you doing? He's like, what? I'm hot. I'm like, okay. It was just funny.
I was having a hot
It's
flash.
hostile work environment here. I'm being harassed. A little bit. Mark's like, you can do that anytime you want, honey.
Yeah.
Like, it's all right. I'm good. Oh my gosh. Excuse me, I'm gonna take a drink real quick.
Okay.
Okay, let's go ahead and splatter a little bit.
Splatter.
Let's do it. It'll kind of break up the rocks a little bit, give it a little another layer of something there. Something going on. We're gonna. I'm losing my voice. We're going to water down this paint quite a lot to splatter. I'm using the Unbleached Titanium here with my fan brush. I'm just going to tap. It's Gonna create these different rock shapes, little round dots, a lot faster than doing them in by hand, that's for sure. So just do tap, tap, tap. Now if you want them even smaller, you can use a toothbrush. And the more water you use, the bigger your drops will be too. So if you want really big water drops, you can use a little bit bigger fan brush and more water in your paint. The thinner, smaller dots will be thicker paint. You can kind of adjust the size to however you want it. I like it. I like it. Definitely helped. Okay. I'm going to do the same with the dark brown. And
More splatters.
not water
How
enough.
many splatters are we doing here?
We're doing a lot. I think it's going to help kind of fill in our rocks. It'll texture that rock area and kind of. Otherwise, we'd just be here all day painting rocks. It's just, it's just a lot of rocks. So this will just speed it up a little bit. Excuse me, I'm sorry.
I caught most of it.
Huh?
I caught most of it for
Thank you.
You need a lozenge?
Yeah, actually, if you've got, there's some over there.
I'll get you one.
Thank you. It's a good idea.
And what does lozenge mean anyways?
Lozenge? Sure, yeah. Well, the other one's got a cough thing, and maybe you could use a cough one.
This has triple soothing action.
Mm.
And this is excellent source of antioxidants and vitamin C.
Well,
And cherry.
does the oh shoot, I just washed off my paint, my water. There. I'm dabbing off here. Just kind of dabbing. This will kind of soften the colors, kind of smush them down so they're not perfectly round. Too. A little bit better. Thank you. I'm going to start with the lozenge, I think. Alrighty. Well, that's just because my paint, this paint is not cured yet. It takes about 24 hours or so to cure. So that's why they say to wait, to varnish your paintings. So until it's cured, it's really not stuck to the canvas fully, even though it's dry. So we just need to go back in and put that paint back on. No big deal. What?
That sounds yummy.
Sorry. Yeah, making all kinds of noise, aren't I? Yeah. Sorry. I can't help it. Sorry.
That's okay. It'll help with
But I
the...
think it's helping, so. Okay. Let's get the other one with my lighter color. Put it up next to it. Try not to move it around so it's not hitting my teeth. And just kind of brush through it.
Good save, honey. Good save.
Thanks.
It's the power of the lozenge.
It is. Okay, so now I'm going to use Zinc White with this blue. Just make it a little bit more transparent and grab a little bit of that transparent glazing liquid there. And I'm just going to add kind of a brighter highlight to some of these areas. Here. And if you feel like you need to, you can use the mop brush. It's not going to blend it out as well since the color underneath is not dry, but it can kind of help to smush it around a little bit.
So it's a good smush brush.
What?
It's a good smush brush.
Yes, it is. It is. And then once this is dry, it has to be completely dry. Do not want to go over this while it's still wet. It probably is a little too wet still, so we'll still work on this up in here. Just keep adding some of these highlights up in here. They do kind of this zigzaggy thing up in here, some of them. So you can kind of connect some of these. If you want to watch somebody paint water that's a master, like a real pro, and I watch him sometimes because I don't paint water that often and I like to get advice, it's Mural Joe. Look him up on YouTube. He's amazing. I mean, he explains like the refraction and he does all this, like he's like into it. He knows his stuff. He's amazing. So I dabble in it. I feel like I am competent enough, but I'm not like masterful with water like he is. Man, he is. I feel like my strength is probably floral, you know? We all have our things that we really love and we have taken the time to learn, you know, in depth. And for me, it's flowers. For him, it's obviously water because he's so good at it. So good at it. All right. Lacquerie is also good. Lisa Clo. Not sure how you say her name. She's also really good with water. Shout outs to some of my favorite YouTubers. Of course, cinnamon is about good at with everything, so, you know, that goes without saying. The Art Sherpa. She said she's moving in. She saw our new fireplace, and she said she's going to come live with us. She says she's not going to be able to move anytime soon. Her daughter likes her high school too much, so they're going to have to stay where they're at. They're not coming to Arkansas after all.
Well, we've had, people sleeping in the dining room, so...
We've had people sleeping in our rug.
Yeah.
Rolled up in the rug on the floor when Nathan and Jordan were teenagers. Remember that?
Yeah, I do remember that.
They do those big LAN parties where they hook up all their computers all together and have these big, epic video game battles in our house and have like 12 TVs hooked up and boys everywhere. Pretty much not safe to leave your room.
Mm-hmm.
And get up in the morning and they're like boys rolled up in the rug.
Literally. And they ran out of blankets. So
like, really?
One use a carton rug.
I know. That was hardcore. And that was before they all drove, so they didn't have a ride. I'm sure they probably would have driven themselves home if they had a choice. Okay, that's actually turning out not bad. I like it. So keeping on going here, just adding, going back and forth. I'm not really explaining what I'm doing here, sorry. But basically more of the same of what we've been doing, just adding, you know, somebody's knocking at the door, hon.
Really?
Mm-hmm. I think
Yeah.
the electrician's here.
Why did that just go? Oh, because we set it up to turn it off.
Oh, yeah. Alexa? Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Never mind. Our master bathroom closet has got a line dangling down. It's really not safe, so he's gonna close that off for us today. He couldn't come yesterday. It was nice of him to come on a Saturday. All right. So, all right, yeah, we're pretty good. I'm pretty happy with the rocks. I'm sorry about the noise of my teeth clicking against these candies here, but oh yeah, you have to go outside and let yourself into the other room because they've got it blocked off from the inside. So you have to let yourself into the master bedroom through the outside door. It's a thing. We're definitely interesting around here right now. But at least the studio's done. We had that done, number one thing. We were like, we can't stop filming for this. So they did this room in 1 week. They got it pretty much completely done except for the closet doors. If you want to see the new studio, we actually have pictures of them on my Patreon page. It's there's a link down in the description, but it's Angela Fine Art on Patreon. Patreon.com/Angela Fine Art. And you can see the new studio. We really like it. It's a little bit more room than we had before, and it's gonna set up. It's got lights in the ceiling. That's the main thing. So we don't have lights on every available surface. We had so many lights, that we just didn't have room for other stuff. So we got counter space now because we've got all kinds of lights up in our ceiling now. So I'm just going through and adding a few of these highlighted rocks over the top of this, some bigger shapes. So now I'm being kind of more intentional. I'm going to do some of them kind of quite large in the foreground here. And I'm using pretty much almost white. I've got a little bit of the unbleached titanium in there, but okay, so we'll let that set. We'll probably do one more glaze. Let's do some kind of more of these yellow rocks. Let's that yellow oxide and do some of the bigger ones with the yellow oxide. And I'm going to go in on my ones I just did and kind of tap in a little color on them to kind of tone them down a little bit. And some of these bigger ones, just give them a second color, make them look a little more realistic. Okay, so now we've got so much going on in here in these rocks, so we can't really make out. It doesn't look like a bunch of little dots sitting next to each other. So that's what you want to do. You want to just kind of do this until you kind of have this sort of obscured thing going on, because those rocks are so, stacked so tightly on top of one another that there's lots of layers going on. So more of a natural look. I'm happy with that, I think. I don't think Mark knows what he's supposed to tell the electrician. I need to tell him where to put the can lights. Okay. Well, we're making pretty good time. We've got about an hour to finish the boat. That should be good. I was trying to hopefully get this done in 2 hours, so I think we're right on track. So let's start working on our boat. Pretty happy with the rocks and the water up in here. We'll let that dry completely, all of this dry, and then we'll kind of finish the water after we kind of get our boat in. Let's see, let's go ahead and use this kind of off-white color that we got going on here. I'll go along this outer edge with it. And when you're doing your watercolor pencil, just pick a color that's going to kind of make sense with your overall color scheme, because it will, you can see this blue is kind of blending with the off-white color here that I've got going on, that I'm putting on over the top of it. So it'll just kind of disappear. But it'll tint your color, so you don't want a color that's going to clash too hard or be hard to cover. Right. I'm going to use a little bit of the red. Mix that with that yellow. And there's kind of a hint of red in here, so I'm going to kind of just mix that into that wet paint. And create that crease on the back side here. Just kind of go along the back line here and shadow that back end of that that's curved down. He was supposed to come at 8 this morning, so he wasn't supposed to be here during the show. We didn't think he was coming, so I didn't even think to tell Mark what to tell him. I have no idea what he's telling him right now. It's kind of bugging me. I very quickly went over that plan with Mark for that bathroom last night. I don't think he really fully understood what I was saying. All right, so let's paint. Well, we're not worried about that. I'm using this kind of, I just mixed up that Cadmium Red Medium with that yellow that I was using down in the rocks there. It's got a little bit of the yellow oxide and some of the Unbleached Titanium in it. And I'm just going to set it down and kind of let it drag and create sort of a rough color right there. Just broken up color. We're going to go really dark right along here. Do you know what to tell him?
Sort of, kind of. He said it's going to be about 2 hours to do
Oh, lovely.
the stuff to you, so you just want him to come back because he's going to try to do everything.
I don't know. It'll probably be about 2 hours before we can get packed up and on the road anyways, right? Because we're 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We'll be cutting close if we do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Because we've got to be there by 5:30. Sorry, guys.
Because if we don't leave till 2, we'll get there about 4:30.
Oh, it's 11, 12, 1. No, it's 2 hours from now. It's 2. It's 1.
1:30. We don't get on the road till 2, but he won't be done for 2.5 hours.
I don't know. I'll leave it up to you. I can't think right now.
Okay. I'll have him do that. And
Do what?
so you want the 4 cans in the corners and the light move and the switch move, right?
The switch is the main thing for now. And then, yes, we need the cans, but I don't know if they have to be done right now.
Well, he's going
Does he need to do them all at once, right before they put the ceiling in?
So maybe we can, well, it'll be easier for him for sure.
Okay, well, then the cans are going to go, I don't know. I can't.
You want me to paint? You can
Yeah,
go.
you need to paint while I can go show him. Can you do that for me? Is that okay? No?
It could be forever preserved on audio.
No. I just have visions of the can lights
I'll
being
just have
put
him
in
come
right.
back.
Huh?
I'll have him come back.
Yeah, it can't. Yeah, we can't deal with it right now. Sorry, guys. That's real life, right? Real laugh happening here. All right. Okay, I mixed up some purple with my Quinacridone Magenta here. And I added a little bit of the quinacridone to that red right in here. It kind of got really dark somehow because it mixed with that blue, which actually worked pretty well. So if yours doesn't go dark, you can just use this color here that I just mixed, this purple and quinacridone. And it's nice of him to come out on a Saturday, but didn't quite work. Okay, I'm going to use the yellow oxide and mix it in with this color. Use it on this bench right here. And there's like a blanket right here of some sort. I don't really know what it is. It's kind of obscuring this. If you don't want that, you can just kind of do your bench across if you don't want to have to worry about these weird blankets and things. I didn't realize that they had so much like kind of blocking the benches until I started drawing it, and I was like, oh, there's something in the way there and something in the way there. So I'm using a little bit of yellow here on it, and I'm just mainly trying to get rid of all these blue lines right now. Not as worried about the actual finishing until later, but I just want to kind of get it covered, get the drawing covered, and get some of that lighter color that we used up here and use it up in here. Go in the opposite direction of our shadowing. I added kind of that dark red shadowing all the way along there. We're definitely going to have to darken it up even more, but get some red here. Let me zoom in a little bit so you can see better what we're doing here. And actually this yellow oxide color is almost the right color for the background of our boat, so we're not going to have to do a whole lot with that. I'm going to go and use this red and start just laying it on here, and fairly thickly. This middle row here is almost solid. Get a little bit of the cadmium red light here. And then right up here, I'm gonna, actually let's switch to this brush. It'll make it a little bit easier. This is the Willows blender, and I'm going to drag it. See how it kind of dry brushes? Just lightly dragging it and letting it create these interesting textures on our boat. Okay, and then I'm going to grab some of this Quinacridone Magenta and the purple mixture and go right up on those lines there and just shadow those lines are shadowed. What'd you decide?
We'll wait.
Okay. He left?
Yep.
Okay. Was he mad?
No.
Okay. Oh, I hope I was still on camera there. I think I was. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. All right.
You did.
Yeah, I zoomed in a little bit.
Man, you don't need me then anymore.
I do.
You're running it all, the whole show there.
This is what I do on Thursdays when I do my crowdcast things with my Patreon folks. I don't have you to help me, so I have to do it myself. I know how. I just prefer to have help. It's a lot more fun with you here.
Yeah.
I pretend like I don't know how to do anything, and then you show up and keep me company.
Oh, I need help. Help me.
Let me help you with that, ma'am.
I will come to the rescue.
That's right. Little lady. All right, I'm getting some of the quinacridone and cadmium red, and I'm just gonna go ahead and use this Willows blender here and fill in this section of our boat and let some of that texture show. This upper one is pretty solid, upper area there. And then down in here, there's a bunch of broken lines. I'm just barely skimming it, just letting it kind of create some shapes for me. Nice. Okay, let's see, what color is that? I'm gonna unbleached titanium with some of that Let's get some Ultramarine Blue. And Unbleached Titanium. A little bit of burnt umber. We'll create a brown, gray. There's a gray color. Leaving a little bit blue on the blue side. We'll use that right here. It's kind of a, it's a lot lighter than the color around it, so just make it fairly light. Right there. You just want it to look like it's got some sunlight in it. And then let's use a little bit of it across this board. And then we'll use it on our tarp here. Kind of stopped. I'm going to get a little bit more white. Okay, and then on this part here, this is going to be a little bit lighter, so I'm going to go ahead and use it up in here to add some lightness. And then when you get to this line right here, there's a shadow right here. So I'm going to grab a little bit of that red, if I can get a little bit, do the shadow right there. It's going to line up with this line of that thing there. And then there's a really dark shadow right under there. Let's grab some of that purple color, really dark right there. And then there's a dark shadow underneath here where that comes down. Let's go ahead and use this darker color all the way along. By using this brush, you're going to get kind of a broken line. It'll be a little bit softer looking. You won't have to be as exact with your placement. Let's go ahead underneath this thing here. And let's grab some of this yellow, a little bit of yellow oxide here, a little bit of the unbleached titanium. And we'll paint in that little bracket right there. This brush is a little bit too big for this, but just trying to get this paint down and cover this first layer here, and we can fix any issues that we have later. Get some burnt umber. It's really dark right in here. Okay, and then let's kind of create some shadows on our blanket here. Did he say he'd be coming back Monday morning?
We need to call. We need to call this afternoon.
To schedule it?
He said that Tuesday would be better for him.
Okay. But Todd's not going to be happy. I think he wanted it all done this weekend.
Well, he didn't get here early enough.
I know. Just saying. It's going to put him back on what he wanted to do. Alrighty.
Yeah, that's looking good, honey.
Thank you. Yeah, it's kind of fun. I like doing these rustic ones because you can kind of...
Yeah, and the painting looks decent also.
so funny. Alright, dabbing on some thicker paint here in some places. So now I'm kind of just dabbing. Let's drag some of this across the back end here. Create some texture there. There's a bunch of this red. I added a little bit of cadmium red light here. So that's all along this edge here. Okay, let's go ahead and let that dry on there. We'll let it dry. We'll do our let's do our boat oar in the water here. I'm gonna get the turquoise. Put it right there, really bright. Go ahead and put it all across here. Down. I'm going to grab some phthalo green, phthalo blue here, make a phthalo turquoise. Maybe add a little bit of purple to darken it up even more. And we're going to go right along that bottom edge of that ore, add a shadow to it. And we're going to add a shadow in the water too. Okay. That goes a lot farther out, doesn't it? I'm trying to see where it goes. So there's that. It's just below that. Comes out a little bit higher. There we go. Alrighty. Getting that turquoise, a little bit of white. Yeah, I don't think we need that. Just do turquoise. As long as the thing is in our picture, this ore is pretty close to the boat color water, so I think I'm just gonna leave it dark here and not worry about it. Looks good. Okay, down here I'm gonna do white, and then I'm gonna put blue over the top of it. So I want some really bright blue patches, but it's not gonna turn out looking blue over this dark color. So I'm gonna put these white patches where I want the really bright blue to go. And once we paint over this white, it'll look blue. The blue's so dark, if you put it over this dark color, it's just going to disappear. But I want it to look like that really bright royal blue that's in our boat picture. So this will help. All right, then let's use some of this color while we've got it on our brush. This is just the Filbert here I'm using. Use it over here. Highlight some of areas that are sticking out. In our tarp there on our boat. Get some unbleached titanium here. Get that white. Need to be bright right here where it's sticking out. Anywhere where you're adding this white, it's gonna draw the eye, so it's gonna make it look like it's closer to us or raised or something. So like right here, we can make it look like it's kind of flipping up towards us by adding a little bit of this lighter color right there. Getting some burnt sienna here. Mixing that with that color and just kind of blending those two together to blend in that area of the blanket that's folded right there or wrinkled. I haven't used the Quinacridone burnt orange yet, so I might grab that and use it somewhere. I hate to call up a color out and then not use it, leave it on the bench, you know. Kind of sad. Bench warming right now.
It's a big game, and they're just sitting there.
I know, he's just waiting. He's like, call me in, coach. I can do it. Alrighty. Yeah, that's fun. Alright, so this should be dry enough. Let's go ahead and continue our water on down. So this is that same watercolor that we had before, the burnt sienna and phthalo blue. And we're going to add zinc white to it. My paints are drying out. And spray them. Use some glazing liquid. And my zinc white will make it transparent. These burnt sienna is not transparent, but we're not using enough of it to make it super opaque. So this color with the phthalo blue is still fairly transparent. So using the zinc white and this glazing liquid should, yeah, keep it thin enough that we can go right over, but we'll still be able to see our rocks. So and then where I want it darker, I'm going to use a little bit of this original color that didn't have a lot of the white in it and just add a little glazing liquid to it and add some shadows in here in our water, some ripples in our water.
This is like that other beach tutorial you did. From the top down.
Mm-hmm. With the, that was with the palette knife. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it is. Very similar technique. We've done it in some of our bonus videos, but I don't think we've ever done them with on YouTube yet. What are you doing there?
Adjusting stuff.
Okay.
What you doing?
Don't know. Painting.
And I hope you know what you're doing over there. You're creating awesomeness.
Yes. Painting. All right, adding some zinc white here. Some places. I'm definitely going to have to work on that transition there a little bit more because we're going from, we went a little too dark, I think, on this area up in here. So we did a little bit better job over on this side. But okay, get me some of this glazing liquid here. And as we get closer to the shore, it's almost just transparent. Not a whole lot of blue left in it. Just a slight tint. And then we can use some of the zinc white to make it a little more cloudy. See how that does. That looks good. I like it. I'm going to use it up in here, but you really don't need it much right there. And then let's use it on this side here. There's a little bit maybe showing around the side of the boat here. And mostly zinc white here. And this side's got a little bit brighter. Catch a little bit more sun. Okay, pretty good. Let's get some white here. What is that noise? Mower?
Yeah, somebody's lawnmower.
Lawnmower needs some help over there. Those weird noises. Okay, so some reflections on the water here up close. So I'm going in a little bit brighter and just kind of breaking up this line between these two, adding some brighter highlights to the water. That seems to work pretty well. And then over here, let's go ahead and add our dark shadows to our water over here. It's basically, it looks like burnt umber. Let's add a little bit of phthalo green just so that it's kind of a greenish color because I think it's a tree. And I'm just gonna go side by side and skim it. And just using that tip of the brush, I pushed it flat so it's got a good flat edge there. There we go. Was I on camera? Oh, no? Oh, okay.
You were on 2 cameras.
I was on 2 cameras? Okay, cool.
Top and side.
Cool. Got that cam going too. All right,
For
so
that
let's
little portion.
add a little bit of this color up in here. Just a little bit on the water, and then there's this zigzag thing going on here, which I don't know what it is, but it's off camera there, so we'll just throw it in there. There we go. Really cool. I like it. Now let's add some of this color down here in our rocks. Good. Okay. And we'll let this dry because we're gonna have to shadow this again a little bit more, but we need to let it dry first. So I think I'm gonna use a little bit of white, my glazing liquid up in here, and add some white up to our water. Up in here. And if you want to do the two brush technique with the mop, you can do that too if you want to keep it softer looking. I think I'm pretty happy with this. Okay. Let's put in our ore. And
So you can paint either or first, correct?
yeah.
You're speechless on that one.
Yeah. Like, I'm not answering that. That's a trap.
It's a drop.
It's a wordplay trap. It's a punny trap.
Man, I just got a boo in chat.
What?
I know. Come on, that was a good one. Come on, seriously, people.
They're on my side. Okay. Adding some of that. Let's grab some of that unbleached titanium if I've got any left. Add a little bit of that on the end of our ore. Some weathering on it. Use this color. Yeah, I need a more solid color. It's just not covering the rocks underneath. It's too transparent there, so I'm gonna use the unbleached titanium. Just gonna go all the way up this ore here. Make it more solid. We can add our turquoise details here in a minute. There we go. That turquoise just adds so much to the something about the turquoise and red together. Just such a pretty color combination. Okay. So let's grab my Ultramarine Blue and Phthalo Blue. I'm going to mix the two together and make a royal blue. And I'm going to grab some glazing liquid, add that to it. And we're going to go over this. See now how bright that blue is going to be? And if I want it even darker, I can use less glazing liquid, but going over that white, it'll make it really pretty. That blue really pop out there at us.
Okay. They would like to know at what point you understood how to layer the ore.
How to layer the ore? This ore?
I don't know.
I need more clarification on the questions.
Please hold.
If they're talking about this one, it just, you know, when I realized that the color wasn't covering, I think that we just had to add, you know, I mean, you watched me paint enough times to realize probably, or I don't know who I'm talking to as you, but we've done enough paintings, hopefully, you know, at this point that you kind of are starting to see that, that, you know, it's kind of just a process. Because I'm not really doing these paintings ahead of time, I'm just figuring them out as I go. So, and most paintings are like that, you know, unless I've done an example painting ahead of time and I know, you know, kind of what to expect, but for the most part.
Okay, so now we get clarification.
Okay.
I want to know about how many years of painting before you knew how to layer to get these colors.
Got it. Well, I did such a different kind of painting. I only have done canvas painting for the last, I started in 2005, I guess, so 15 years or so, 14 years of that. And then before that, I did decorative painting, which is really a totally different kind of way, because a lot of times the layering in decorative painting is you use red and then use a darker red. You use blue, use darker blue. You don't use like variations of colors on top of colors as much, you know. I mean, I'm sure there is some of that, but so it's a little bit more straightforward. So, I mean, I really just have been playing with color ever since I started doing the canvases and doing these more, you know, realistic type paintings. And it's just kind of a matter of, I already had enough, you know, years of painting that I wasn't having to worry about the technique, so I was able to just concentrate on, you know, colors and that kind of thing. But I do, and I still do this. I still, especially if I've got a color that I haven't used before, I'm using blue here, by the way, to shadow some of the boat here. I'll do like a color study in my, let me see if I can find one of my notebooks that I did it recently, but I'll do a color study and I'll just blend on paper, you know, just to see what the colors do, and it helps, you know, me to kind of get a visual. I don't know, I have so many notebooks here, I can't tell which one I did recently. I know I did, I can't find it. Sorry. Yeah, it's somewhere. It's in one of these notebooks. I know. No, it's not that one.
I love how you're looking while rinsing out a brush.
I'm multitasking right now. I'm not giving up. It's in here somewhere. But, oh yeah, there. So, using Quinacridone Burnt Orange and trying to see how it mixed with blues. And I'll do these kind of little color studies where, Cadmium Red Light, Cadmium Orange, and see how they blend. And then you can also know how to layer basically too, because if they mix this way, then when you layer burnt orange over the blue, it should make a similar color by layering. I don't know. Hopefully that helped. That's almost too bright. We're gonna add some of the. I need to keep these brushes wet because they're starting to dry. I don't want that paint to dry in there. Okay, I need to get moving on this because we're gonna run out of time. I need more fresh paint though. We're already at 2 hours. Okay. Did you turn off the air? Uh-huh.
I set it to 69.
Okay. That's fine. It's just hot.
Did you say it was hot?
Mark's taking the shirt off.
Is that my cue? Check. I want to.
I'm gonna use the chisel blender and see if we can get. God, you're awesome.
I'm not that chiseled. Sorry. I'm more like a mop brush.
I'd say I'm more like a Filbert, maybe. Just call me Filbert. Oh my gosh. We're so weird today. Okay, making quinacridone, purple, and white here. Don't make me laugh, I'm choking. I'm going to use it on the back of the boat here. Add some highlights to that area. That may be too bright, but we'll tone it down here in a minute. I'm going to put some on that ore too, just so it shows up a little bit. And alright, grab some of that red, cadmium red, some of that quinacridone with it. Cadmium and quinacridone together make a really pretty cherry red. I'm going to use that right along this edge here. The nice thing about the chisel blender, it allows me to get here and just get these really good straight edges that I want on this area, but I can also kind of drag it to get that softer line if I need it. Or, the kind of broken line just by kind of lightly dragging it. Gonna go ahead, let's use that quinacridone burnt orange over here on this back end of the boat. That's perfect. Nice. Okay. Use a little bit of it. Purple, burnt umber. A really dark red here. Make sure that that line is really dark. And then I'm just going to kind of pull it down a little bit while that paint's wet. Create a sharp shadow right there and there on the end of those boats where they kind of meet up. And then let's shadow under that blanket there. use a little glazing liquid and just kind of go back over those lines and sort of smoosh out the bottom edge to soften it. Going dark. This area is dark right here. Got a shadow from that ore right along there. I'm going pretty fast. There's a lot of details here to cover. Just using the edge of that brush. Good fine line. So it's shadow right along there. Create a cast shadow from that ore all the way down that boat there. So this should go right through here, make sure that that line continues, doesn't come out of a weird angle. So they should all match up underneath that ore there with wherever they start. Okay. Let's go really dark right in here. Really, really dark. Really dark. It's that dark against that light that gives it depth. So you gotta have it super dark to get that depth that you need or that you want. So don't be afraid of going almost black right there. And if you can't get it dark enough with your purple, go ahead and use black. Because some purples aren't as dark as this. If you're using a different purple besides the Dioxazine Purple that I'm using, probably won't be dark enough because a lot of purples are not, that have white added to them. So if your purple seems too light, use black. You want it dark. Okay, going really dark right here. All right, I'm going to use some yellow and some white. Create my blinky here, or whatever this is. Not really sure.
It's a tarp.
Tarp. Okay, thank you.
Oh, that there? That looks like a repair to the boat.
Like putty on it.
Yeah, it's probably that fiber something or other.
Ah. Okay.
Or a blankie.
just mixed a little bit of that purple with that yellow, and I'm going to continue this line from the shelf over and from this shelf over.
So somebody asked, what were you using for the undertones in the black?
Say what?
They want to know what the undertones you are using in the black.
The black areas are purple and burnt umber. I haven't used my black yet at all. Just use that purple and burnt umber. It's been working pretty good to get dark enough. But if you don't feel like it's dark enough for you, just use black and maybe add a little bit of brown to it or a little bit of blue to it to tone it down. Okay, I'm using a little bit brighter white here, going along the inside of the boat here. Add some texture. And then I'm going to use that brighter white and go right along that edge up in here. And I'm going to kind of go side to side so it breaks up a little bit on the back end of it. It'll be solid on the top end, but the back side here is going to kind of be a little bit choppier if I do that. So just like that.
So it's about this time in the video. I'm going to mention that if you're watching this shortly after the video ends,
Yes.
you're not going to see the very beginning because we're
Right.
over 2 hours. But YouTube will process it and then you will see the whole thing. So
Yeah, it just takes.
take some time.
It's sometimes the other day it took almost 5 hours. So for the longer videos, it takes longer. So just have to, and then every single first comment is, I really wanted to watch this.
It starts
but I
in the
can't."
middle.
Yeah, I know. Like, thank you, YouTube. Because the thing is, they suggest it to people right off the bat, and then they start watching it, and then they don't watch the whole thing because they can't see the first part of it, so they don't watch it, and then YouTube's like, oh well, people don't want to watch it, and so they stop suggesting it. It's like a vicious circle, So I've asked multiple times, and they're just pretty much said, tough luck. In other words, but it was pretty much like, sorry, can't help you. So, which, I think with all the crazy stuff going on with live streaming, I think that they're just trying to protect people. I think part of it is that their algorithm is trying to monitor, what's being said and shown. So it takes time for that to happen, for them to you think about how many videos are being uploaded every day, every hour, all day long, 24/7. So it's amazing that they even allow us to do live streaming at all. I'm not complaining. I'm like, okay, if it takes them a while, we're just happy that we have this as a vehicle to connect to folks. And all right, using some of the burnt umber and some yellow oxide here, and just kind of adding some more shadowing layers to our blinky here, our tarp. Okay, kind of going along the bottom edge of that. There. It's not bad. Let's add some of this color to our actual boat. I'm going to use a little bit of the yellow oxide and grab a little bit of this yellow. the cadmium yellow light and white and yellow oxide just to tone it down just a little bit. And I'm going to hold my brush really low and just skim it. So when I say low, I just mean kind of flat to the canvas there. Very shallow angle. That'll allow that paint to kind of skim. I'm gonna do it down here and then we're gonna glaze over it. So. Just adding that little bit of broken chipped paint. I learned something the other day when we were looking at those old doors.
Oh, yeah?
That latex paint peels
Yep.
and
Leaded paint.
and lead paint chips. So let me see, paint chips, you know it's lead paint. I thought that was very interesting. So you know to be careful if you're refinishing furniture or whatever. Do you not want that in your lungs? Okay, getting some of the letter blue. Do it down here in the shadow area with the kind of turquoisey blue. Okay, I'm going to grab that turquoise now. That cobalt teal. I'm going to do it on that. Same way, just kind of dragging it, letting it catch on the canvas texture. This is very kind of unpredictable, so you just have to kind of, it's kind of like painting palette knife painting. You just have to kind of let it do what it's going to do. You can always kind of go back in and layer it again or do, you know, different things over the top, but you can't really predict what it's going to do when you're skimming it like this. So just have to kind of know it's going to maybe, may not look exactly like what you planned for it to look like, but just have to kind of go with it. And all right, I'm going to making some brown here. I'm going to do the same thing with my brown. Light brown, unbleached or ultramarine blue. I'm sorry, burnt umber and the unbleached titanium here. I think there's a little bit of yellow in here too. And then I need some white. A really light version of this. And get some more of that blue. shadow it right along that tip where it meets the rocks. It's dark right here. Probably wet. I'm going to get a little bit of this turquoise and add it a little bit to this one that's under the water here because I feel like it kind of lost some of its brightness. Add a little bit of the phthalo blue to this cobalt teal. A little bit brighter blue color. There we go. Alright. Shadow it, add our ropes, and we'll be done. I'm going to add a little bit of burnt umber here to my glazing liquid. Get a little bit of purple. Very little bit of purple, mostly brown. Actually, let's add a little bit of ultramarine blue too. That'll create that gray that we like. Ultramarine blue, burnt umber. So I'm going to go right on here. Nice dark shadow in our water. Our boat. Gonna glaze right over the top of all of that. Use that color right along here, really dark. What?
Chad is yelling at us.
Yelling what?
Well, really at you.
What? About what?
Don't forget the ore pins.
Oh, yeah. Thank you.
Well, don't forget about the ore fins either, but don't forget about the ore pins.
Orphans.
More Liam videos coming in.
What?
More Liam videos coming in.
Oh, boy.
Looks like he's crawling this time.
He's so cute. Can't stand it. Kills me. It's like a video makes you happy and sad at the same time. Because you're happy to see him and then you're sad that you can't, like, kiss him. Liam's our grandson. First grandson.
I think we
He's
need
the
to.
most adorable baby ever.
We need to try to do Skype with them.
That's a good idea. Okay, getting burnt umber here. Tip of my brush. Let's do the ore pins here. And create a gray. My burnt umber and it's red in here. Really dark on this. There we go. And then I'm gonna get this little bitty brush here. This is the 10-aught. I'm gonna use it to create my little dots along the inside of my boat cover. The way down. I feel like nobody can see what we're doing because it's so far away.
Okay, I got the hint. Oops. I was trying to be wise and it went out of focus on me.
Mm-hmm. That's what you get for being a smart aleck.
Yeah, I know.
Passive aggressive.
Says she who was like, I feel nobody can see what we're doing.
Well, I was wanting a second opinion to see if you agreed or if it looked better from your angle.
We've been married too long.
You know me better than that. You know if I wanted you to do it, I'd just tell you to do it. I don't play those games.
Oh, that's true. You're not me.
No. Exactly. Oh, thank goodness. For both of us. No, I mean, it's a little creepy.
Yeah, that would be weird.
All right, going mixing some green with my off yellow there that I've been using. I don't know what's in there anymore, but just colors. Mix some green in there with it. It's my yellows and whites, I think. Trying to tie up this boat here. I'm gonna use a little bit of the darker green. It's all kind of tangled up, so you really don't have to be super careful with it. It's pretty much just a big jumble of knots and stuff. I'm gonna get some yellow with that. There we go. Really bright. Use it down here. There's some knots coming out up here. You may have to do the white first and then do your green over the top of the white, because if it's not showing up, because it seems to not want to show up against these darker colors right now. And then let's use a little bit of white. Well, let me continue with these ropes here first. Okay. Clean that out. Oh man, we need to go. We're gonna be late. All right. I don't know what I was thinking doing this one. A little bit of white there, highlight. A little bit on this one too. A little bit more white weathering on my oar. Oh yeah, and then there's the rope over here. Get some blue, white. Use that Phthalo blue and Ultramarine Blue. Tie off our boat off this side here. Into the right there.
Playing some music over there.
Just thinking music here. My shadow right there. Shadow in the water right here. Add a little bit of white to the shadow color, just to kind of make it a little cloudier color. Add it in my shadow under my blue area here. Kind of see that ore just a little bit in the water there. Just kind of highlighting it a little bit. I feel like that got a little too far forward, so I'm gonna cut that off just a little bit. Right there. A little bit of white. Glaze that out.
The focus is on.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. So while you're doing that, I'll talk about patreon.com/AngelFineArt. Jump on over there. $1 a month gets you the traceables.
Yeah.
All traceables. Going back to February 2017.
Yep.
As many downloads as you want. And then there's a $5 level there that gets you access to the traceables plus a bonus video each month. And it also gives you access to the past bonus videos too. So same deal.
Our bonus video is next weekend.
And then there's
This month, I mean.
there's a $10 level, which gives you all of that, plus also access to another Facebook group where Angela does more tutorials and more interaction with the members. And
They get to pick the bonus videos and stuff.
Oh, nice, yeah. So, and then there's other levels too for companies and things like that. So, jump over there, check it out.
Yeah, if you're wanting to teach the lessons, there's a plan for that. So, wanting to use my designs in your paint party business.
And you're not limited to those amounts. It can be anything you want. 1 million, 2 million, whatever. Whatever.
The hashtag retire mark
Yeah.
fund, or higher mark, I should say.
Hashtag higher mark.
Higher mark.
Ooh, that could be the $1 million level.
There you go. Is that how much you're going to charge me when you go to work for me full time? 'Cause I can't afford that.
Oh, well, I guess I got to go look for other channels then.
All right, do a little bit of purple down the length of that, and I think we're going to call that good. I'm going to sign it, and we're going to hit the road. Jack, we got to get out of here. Thank you guys for watching today with us. As always, you're amazing. We so appreciate your support. It sounds like somebody super chatted us. What? More cowbell. That's pretty loud. Okay.
Yes. Oh.
Turn your mic on. Maybe I'm not worth $1 million.
All right. I'm gonna add another layer of highlight. Mark's gonna talk about super chats.
Super chats. Okay, so we had many awesome chats. There were
Really?
3 super chats.
Nice.
First one was from Laura, and she says, "Happy Saturday! Thank you, Angela and Mark."
Nora?
No, that was Laura.
Laura, thank you.
Thank you so much, Laura.
Thank you, Laura.
The second one was from Patty, and she says, "Thanks, Angela and Mark, for the great tutorial on such a busy day. I love the techniques for the beach and rocks. You guys add so much to my weekends. Have a great trip to your parents' anniversary party."
Thank you.
Thank you, Patty. And then the last one was from Newfie, and there's no special message, but I think she just wanted to see disco lights and cowbell. So
Nice.
there you go.
We aim to please.
So thanks again to Newfie and Patty
And Lori.
Laura.
Thank you, Laura. Laura or Lori?
Laura.
Laura. Okay, I thought you said Lori.
But she may go by Lori.
Okay. Please turn that off. I'm sorry I ever gave you the controls over that.
Oh, yes, it is so glorious.
All right.
You need strobe lights, too, as the next upgrade.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Just adding a little bit less, little bit of extra texture to that ore there, and I'm going to call that good. All right, guys, thanks for watching today. That actually turned out not too bad. I like it. Actually, there's one other thing that you could do if you wanted to, just like really fussy, but it will kind of help take it to the next level, is if you go up underneath some of these areas that are red and do a little bit of a shadow color, so like a little bit of darker color just underneath, it'll make them look raised. So just a few of these, and it'll add that much more detail there. So I meant to do that. Oh yeah, and I was going to glaze over these to darken them back up. Okay. I'm good. I want to get that off there. I don't want cadmium on my hands. All right. Thanks, guys, so much. And we will see you on Tuesday night. We're going to have a really fun leaf floating in water, another water tutorial, but hopefully a little bit simpler this time. All right. We'll see you next time. Bye.